Welcome to the regular meeting of the Corporation of the Township of North Dundas. There's also a public meeting that's going to end. Will be streamed on the Township's YouTube channel. And call the meeting to order. The meeting is called to order at 4:31 p.m. Adoption of the agenda. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Bergeron and Councillor Uhrig, seconded by Councillor Uhrig, that the agenda be amended to add the job description for the Director of Finance/Treasurer under section number 8, items for consideration, and the mover is the Deputy Mayor and the seconder is Councillor Uhrig. Any disclosures of pecuniary interests and general nature thereof? Seeing none. We're going to roll into our public meeting. The first one is a zoning bylaw amendment. Lucas Kavanaugh and Tammy Ranger. It's about 13645 County Road 9, Chesterville. This is a public meeting of council to consider proposed zoning bylaw amendment to 13645 County Road 9 in Chesterville. Everyone present for this public meeting is urged to sign the appropriate attendance sheet. Has that happened? Everyone's had a chance? Thank you. We'll now have a presentation regarding the proposed amendment by the Township's planner, Mr. Calvin Pohl. Mr. Pohl.
So this evening we're looking at, or this afternoon, we're looking at a zoning amendment with regard to a property located at 13645 County Road 9, just outside of Chesterville. Oops, that went too far. For those present, there's a different appeal process now with regard to zoning amendments in the last year. Only a specified person, a public body, or a registered owner, upon making oral or written submissions at or before this public meeting, can appeal a decision of the Council of North Dundas to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Essentially, your neighbors cannot appeal anymore. You used to be able to appeal in the old days, but now the government's changed the rules. You have to be a specified person, which is essentially Union Gas and companies like that. There are specified persons under the Act. So the amendment we're looking at this evening is an application to rezone the subject property or part of the subject property from agriculture to agricultural exception 44. And that's the image in red, so it's not the entire property. The property outlined in yellow is the actual property. The property being considered for the zoning amendment is just the red area. We're confining it on the property just to that specific area in and around the building, 25 meters around the building. Its legal description is part of Lot 20, Concession 6, in the former township of Winchester, which is now North Dundas, municipally known, as I pointed out earlier, at 13645 County Road 9 in Chesterville. So part of the process of looking at a zoning amendment is we have to give public notice, and that was given on April 16th. We also posted a sign on the property, which is a requirement under the Planning Act. And we gave notice to all the property owners within 120 meters, also to all public agencies and public bodies. So a bit of the background, the existing use of the property is currently a residential dwelling with some accessory structures. The proposed use is to rezone the subject property to permit 2 additional uses. They are within an existing building on the property, namely agricultural vehicles and equipment repairs, and a commercial garage, which would be automotive repairs and automotive safety inspections they'd like to do out of that back building. So it's the building at the bottom part of the slide that you're looking at. Some of the background is it's currently within the official plan. It's within the agricultural resource lands, and I'll get to that in a minute. With regard to zoning bylaw, it's also agriculture. The property zoning that we're looking at, the proposed zoning, is to go to agricultural exception 44. And the area we're rezoning is approximately 0.7 acres or 0.3 hectares of the entire property. So as I pointed out, we're going to agricultural exception 44, and it's to permit the 2 new uses, basically agricultural repairs and commercial garage, automotive repairs and safety inspections. Part of us looking at a zoning amendment that council must consider under the Planning Act is the provincial policy statement. It was updated last year. Under that, it allows to permit agricultural related uses based on provincial guidelines, and that's part of the farm equipment repairs that they're doing. And also under the definition of on-farm diversified uses, it also provides a direct service to farm operations. So he'll be providing services to neighboring farms also as far as their cars and potentially their tractors, equipment. They may need to have the oil change, things like that. Another aspect you have to look at is the county official plan. And under that, there's a policy that talks about uses directly related to farm operations in the area that support agriculture and benefit from being close to farm operations. And that's section 5321. And uses shall be compatible with and shall not hinder surrounding agricultural operations, and that's 533. So zoning bylaw, you can see it's all green, so it's agriculture. We're looking at rezoning just the red part. Comments received. So part of this process is we did circulate to ministries, public bodies. That includes South Nation as a public body, and Union Gas, all the companies, school boards get it. We did receive back a comment from the United Counties. They commented regarding whether a proposed zoning should be subject to an official plan amendment under their official plan. We did have a conversation last Wednesday, and it was determined that yes, even though they're doing agricultural repairs, the car part, repairing cars and getting safeties, requires an amendment to the official plan. He pointed out that we did have one case here in North Dundas that I'd forgot about years ago, so he will have to go through the official plan amendment process following this. The proposal before council tonight is just to give first and second reading, and then it goes to the counties for an official plan amendment for that approval, and when it comes back, then we can finalize the bylaw. From the public, we received no comments from neighbors or any other comments received with regard to this application. And from that, I'll pass it back to the mayor for questions from the public and comments.
Thank you, Mr. Pohl. And at this point, we'll open the meeting up to questions and comments. Questions, comments from the public. Anyone present? Seeing none. Questions, comments from members of council? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Mr. Pohl. So now we've heard or had the opportunity to hear from anyone who wishes to make representations. This completes the public meeting. We're going to move into delegations. We have 3 of them tonight, and just a general reminder that for everyone's benefit and comfort, 10 minutes of presentation would be appreciated. And we're going to start with Caroline Roberts from the Chesterfield District Historical Society. Ms. Roberts, welcome. And you have with you?
I would like to introduce John Pemberton, who's our new Vice President, who was elected in February this year. So,
Congratulations, Mr. Pemberton, and welcome.
there we go. Okay, is that good? I submitted a report that I think was circulated in March. If everybody had a chance to look at it. But I will just go through quickly the highlights. It was the report for 2024, when we had a very active year because we celebrated our 40th anniversary of our founding, which was June the 15th. We originally founded in 1985, and we had an ad hoc committee that planned special events. We had a guided horse-drawn wagon ride celebrating Chesterville's history, and we had each wagon ride was actually led by one of our guides who gave a tour of the buildings and the history of Chesterville. And we were blessed with a beautiful sunny Saturday, and it was very well attended. We had I think it was 14 rides. They were provided by the Reed Acres Percherons, and we had 14 fully booked tours with 7 guides. So that was a very successful day. And as well, we have been having a series of interesting talks, guest speakers, and each guest speaker at our monthly meetings, we've had 25 to 28 participants coming out, members and non-members alike, which is almost like the capacity of our building these days. And so that's been very successful. I think that is more than we had even before the pandemic started. We had Jim Brownell as one of our guest speakers, and we had but did everyone have a chance to look at this? Because I was going to just update with what our plans for this year. If you've
Yeah,
no
please
questions.
go right ahead with your update.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we've already had the fire prevention officer out as a guest speaker, Sean Donovan, and that went over very well. And our next guest speaker is on May the 20th is Wayne Leprade, he's donated a large collection of cameras that he collected through his lifetime, and he's going to speak about his photographic business that he had in Chesterville. I was talking with him this morning. He also worked for many years, an apprentice actually, with the Chesterville Record. So I think it's going to be a very interesting talk. That's going to be on May the 20th. And then in June, we're going to have Jeanette Guy-Meyer, who is from Cornwall, and she's recently published a book on the women of SD&G in Akwesasne, telling the stories of many remarkable women. And she's including, actually, at our suggestion, she's including Estella Rose, a local, as one of the people that she wrote about, as well as Gladys Marcellus, who was the first woman bank manager in Canada and who worked in Chesterville. And I have read the book, and it's fascinating. She's going to come in June. She's a very good speaker as well. She did speak to us last year as well. She's quite a prolific author. We're also planning to be open to the public on Saturdays, starting on June the 7th, which is the Day of the Art on the Waterfront in Chesterville. And our volunteers we have a schedule of volunteers from 10 till 2 on Saturdays through till August. And we are also participating in the Doors Open, SD&G, on the 16th of August. We participated last year, and they give us good advertising as well. So we will be participating again this year. And we just had a meeting today, actually, a board meeting today. We're planning a bus trip to the Brockville Museums. We've already got 20 people signed up. And we're going to go to the Brockville Museum, and then they're going to give us a guide to get on our bus and give us a guided tour of the history of Brockville. So I think that would be very interesting, especially since we were giving guided tours of Chesterville last year. And then we're also going to visit the Fulford House. So it's going to be a full day. And we've got the bus line from Newington that's going to take us. So we're excited about that, and that we've had such a good turn up for that. I think we're charging about $65, and we should break even on that. It's not a fundraiser. It's just to try to and get more members and do more interesting things. That's one of my goals for this year, is to really start advertising more what we do and to try to attract new members to our group. We have a very core of very hard-working members. We met all winter to carry on with our work, with our accessions and our collection. And also recently, I was away, but John Pemberton attended a regional heritage roundtable for SD&G. This is a new initiative of the museum, of all the local museums. We did attend the Heritage Fair in Cornwall in February, and I think they invited us to join them, but I will let John speak about it because he actually attended that meeting.
Sure, so I'll try and keep it short. Essentially, we kind of discussed as a larger group our prime issues and what we could bite off realistically over the course of the season, which runs till the fall, obviously. What our focus tended to bubble up was communication internally, if nothing else. We're looking at things like a calendar of events that we could share so that we're not stepping on each other when we set up an event, so that recognizing that our audience is their audience and vice versa. So things like that, we're looking at setting up a shared mandate page so that we know what everyone is doing and who we are, how to find us. Today in History events, things like that on Facebook, that we could, kind of expose ourselves from a history perspective. And share our address and hours of operations, all in a view to increase our presence to the wider public. So that was kind of what we saw as being our focus till we'll set up a fall meeting, and we're looking to host it in Chesterville, so keeping our foot on the gas, so to speak.
Excuse me.
Were there any questions for us?
Thank you, Ms. Roberts. Questions, comments from Ms. Roberts or Mr. Pemberton? Yes, Councillor Urick, thank you.
Yeah, just a comment. I'm happy to hear about the increased kind of focus on, engaging the community, because the number of people in North Dundas that don't know that this exists is kind of alarming, and there's a significant amount of history here. So, kudos to you guys, and I look forward to seeing what's to come of it all. Thank you.
Thank you. We were wondering too if we can be promoted through the township. I think as a calendar of events. So if I submit what our upcoming events are, how do I do that? I just send it an email to you, Megan? Okay. And that way we'll maybe get the word out a bit more too.
I think, Ms. Roberts, for the interim, I think it would be Ms. Meerberg, and then we're going to slide quickly or soon into communications, and then we'll have a communications person that will be your point of contact.
Excellent.
That's coming shortly, and whenever that person's with us, then. And as you were making the presentation, and Mr. Pemberton was talking, I was thinking the same thing. We need more information. We're all part of the same group, essentially, and if we can facilitate in whatever way, highlighting and letting people know that of your activities and events and initiatives, that falls on us. We'll have the wherewithal, and shortly we'll have that communications person. But in the meantime, Ms. Meerberg would be the person to talk to.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
And my comment is, it's like I welcome Mr. Pemberton, and I thank him for that. The adding more enthusiasm and input to making sure that the CDHS gets the notoriety, the positive notice that it deserves, because there's lots of really interesting things housed in Chesterville, and the more and more people that we can get to understand some of the things that how Chesterville has evolved in the area. So it's your work is important, and but we do need to work harder together to make sure we bring it to everyone's attention.
Thank you. And we do cover a wider area too. We have been collecting photographs from the whole of North Dundas, and although we don't have room to collect a lot of artifacts from the whole of North Dundas, we have been working to store those the history of the whole township.
Well, thank you very much, Ms.
Well,
Roberts. Mr. Pemberton, thank you for that
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank you for having us.
Up next is from the Rideau St. Lawrence Family Health Team, Ms. DeRoche. Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor and members of council, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to come speak to you today. Although I could extend beyond 10 minutes very, very easily with healthcare, I'm going to be very brief and share quickly a high-level group of information for you. Today I want to come before you with an attitude of gratitude for supporting us for thus far. We came to the community in February of 20 when the Rideau St. Lawrence Family Health Team started, and we came to council and asked if we could share some space at 547 with Seaway Valley as our partners. And you graciously permitted us to do that. And as a result, we have grown, evolved, and been very instrumental in supporting the residents of Winchester and beyond in providing primary health care. Primary health care is a big issue today. There are many Ontarians walking around without a primary care physician. Our goal here in Winchester is to ensure that every patient has a primary care practitioner and a team-based model surrounding them. So what does this all mean? What this means is the Rideau St. Lawrence has been working directly with 33 primary care physicians. We are a unique model, one of 187 across the province, and we have been highlighted by Ontario Health as a very important and very specific model. We do, like none other, we engage and embed in all of our primary care clinics. So what does that mean? What it means is we work with the physicians. We provide services that residents of Winchester would not have otherwise. They would have to travel to Cornwall or travel to Ottawa and beyond. We provide preventative care programs, managing diabetes. We provide health promotion programs, cancer screening, and promotion. We provide accessibility. We have NPs that work alongside of our doctors, and patients can call into the offices and be seen that day or the next day. Our mission is to keep patients out of hospital if possible, and to have them seen in the offices and be able to turn their care around quickly and expeditiously. We also have pharmacy that work with our doctors so that patients can receive the services they need to receive if they're not able to afford their medication, or they're having difficulty understanding, or they're leaving hospital and they need support in what this means. Pharmacy will connect directly with their primary care physicians, and they will speak directly to patients and help them and support them and ensure that there is medication available for them in compliance. We have nurses that do a variety of programs in the offices, and all of this is on the health promotion and vaccination promotion side. We want to ensure every resident has the opportunity to manage their care and manage it well, with education, support, and system navigation. We work very collectively with multiple agencies, both in Winchester and beyond, to ensure patients are educated and aware of what's available to them for whatever their needs may be. So we enhance patient care, we provide local integration and collaboration, and we improve quality outcomes for patients. And that's what our primary focus is. We are also working with our primary care physicians to ensure that there is enough in our community. We all know that we are running through shortages of primary care physicians. They're leaving the profession because of the overwhelming and exhaustion that they are suffering. Our goal is to take the work off their desk that we can and allow them to spend more time with patients that need their services. We're also supporting increased attachment rates. We're very linked to our primary care partners across the Great River Ontario Health Team. And we've applied in a collaboration last year, 2023, it was awarded in 24, where we asked for over 9 million, and we were awarded over 4. And collectively, we have been able to add members to our teams to support additional programs and services within our areas and support the attachment of more patients to our primary care physicians. We have recently, as of Friday, submitted a secondary proposal that should be awarded by early July, we hope. And the Rideau St. Lawrence has asked for a significant expansion to be able to provide more nurse practitioners, to be able to provide more nurses, so that we can actually attach patients and give them a primary care practitioner in order for them to not have to leave to be able to access it. The postal codes that the province has supported this round of funding is the KOC and K6H. Closer to Cornwall, we fit under KOC. So we're in there. We've got a voice, we've got a footprint. We're the only team-based model in the entire area supporting the primary care physicians. So you have a very loud voice with me, with the Great River OHT, and all of the primary care partners across the region. Today, there was another news announcement that there's going to be new legislation going to the floor for the Primary Care Act in 2025. So the government is graciously earmarking a fair bit of money to come in primary care. We want our share for this area. And the way to do that is to build out our teams, support our physicians, provide care that patients do not have to travel to get, if at all possible. And that's what we are attempting to do. What do we do at 547? 547 has become our staple. We don't have a clinic. We don't have bricks and mortar. We have a small space to work with, and our staff are embedded in all of the various clinics. And that's what makes our model unique. Nobody else is doing this in the province. So we've been highlighted as a unique model. Our physicians, our partners, have graciously taken us on, and they work with us and allow us in kind to be in their space and to provide direct patient services. At 547, we do provide some patient services because space is not wealthy in all of the clinical spaces. Some of them are very tight. So I do have practitioners working out of 547, and we provide direct patient services 3 days a week, starting group programming there as well. We continue to evolve, we continue to expand, we continue to add more, and we are at the forefront of primary care, and I want to bring that home to you. How you can help me? Be our partners. Continue to be our partners as you have, and as I said, we come with an attitude of gratitude. Continue to support and be our liaison with the province, with MPPs, with local MPPs, because I know them all. What we want to do is to make sure that Winchester is on the map, and we want to make sure that care and services are brought here as best we can. Let me just see. Local solutions for local communities. I work with a number of primary care physicians, and it's amazing. Our north partners, our south partners, everybody's needs are different. Every clinic has special needs for their patients, and we design our programs around the special needs of those patients and try to adapt accordingly. Okay? Any questions? I've given you a whole lot of information.
Well, thank you for that somewhat timely presentation. The Madam CAO and myself were having a conversation all about the same stuff you're referring to, Ms. DeRoche. But I open up to questions and comments from members of council. Excuse me. Deputy Mayor, thank you.
I don't know if you remember, Mr. Mayor, but one time we were in the car and I asked you what that service was, because I go down the street in Winchester and I see the sign and I wonder, what is it? I have no idea. And I actually stopped one day and it was closed. So are you still there 3 days a week at that address?
We are present. It's because the clinicians work in multiple clinics. So we are a virtual and a hybrid model. They see direct patients within the doctor's offices. The patients that are seen, the clinicians are on site and they see specific patients that have been scheduled to see them. I myself, I work everywhere. I'm virtual, I'm at home, I'm in the office, I was there all day today. We do work in multiple places, just by simple design of the model.
Can I have another question? So how do people contact you? Do they go through their primary doctor first, or can they reach you directly if they have issues?
Great question. We are associated with all of the clinics, and the patients that reach out to us have to be associated with the clinics, and we can't take community on at this point simply because of capacity. We have over 47,000 patients that we serve. So at this time, we see all of the patients of primary care physicians associated, and they can directly connect with us through the offices. So the physicians are all very well aware of what we do and how we do it, and they refer to us specifically. Can they self-refer? Absolutely. If they are a patient of the clinic and they would like to see mental health counselors, if they would like to see the nurse for their diabetes, all they do is call the clinic and they can immediately be scheduled in to see them. Okay? Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you for your questions, Deputy Mayor. Anything further? I look forward to continuing the support that we and the relationship that we have currently. If there's opportunities for improvement, I'm sure we will have those conversations in the future. But as I alluded to earlier about the conversation where I was involved with Madam CAO earlier today, it's another thing that we can add where we're getting ready for delegations with AMO. And it's going to be something that the healthcare hub that we have in North Dundas here in Winchester, and I always call it the healthcare hub, but there's the social hub. We have Dundas Manor, the new Dundas Manor, the current, the Dillabaugh Building, the hospital,
Yep.
the Rito St. Lawrence healthcare team, the Rito St. Lawrence, the fire hall, the police station, the library, the pharmacy right next door to it. We have quite a hub, and this is what we're talking about. What I want to talk about as a delegation with the province is how to further support and grow that hub as our population ages and expand, and our population grows, and as the demographic ages. We need to bring to their attention the opportunities available in North Dundas with that hub in mind that we already currently have, and your team is part of that valuable hub that I brag about.
Yes. It's fantastic. And what we try to do, not only see direct patient services, but we are bringing services to the area as well. I am working on proposals right now to try to bring psychiatry to the area, to try to bring a memory disorder clinic to the area. So I am being contacted by all kinds of different people now and saying, hey, can we partner up? There's things that we can do. And we've become that person, that entity that supports a collaboration. Because we're very involved with the Great River OHT and all of my primary care partners, we cover off the entire region of the Great River OHT. Winchester and surrounding areas, we're the footprint for that team-based model. The province is moving to the team-based model, and that's what they're supporting with all of their funding. And physicians want to work in an atmosphere where there's a team wrapped around them. They do not want to work in private practices where they have no support. So this is the way healthcare is going. This is what the province, with the new act that they're proposing, with Dr. Jane Phillips' primary care action team, this is exactly where we're going. And we are right in the middle of it all. I constantly try to connect with different resources to bring them to Winchester. Hey, you know what? You might want to come and see us because there's things that you can help us with. I'm very in tune with the areas where there are gaps in care. Mental health for youth, big gap. We're trying to fill that. So in the areas, because we work directly with the primary care physicians, they speak to us. We have an ongoing dialogue. What kinds of things do you see? What kinds of trends? What kinds of patient needs do you see? How can we best help? So we're very active, we're on the move, and we just want to be a part of the bigger plan, and we want to engage with all of you in doing that, as well as the other municipalities. It is the future of healthcare. So thank you very much.
Very, I want to say exciting. I'm probably missing the right word, but a presentation, and it gets the juices flowing as we get ready for this delegation and the opportunities in front of us that we need to take advantage of. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you. And if
Good.
I can help in any way,
You will be done.
shout out. Thank
Thank you very much, ma'am. Take care. And our third delegation is House of Lazarus. Miss Ashby, Kathy, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Nice seeing you again.
It's great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to bring you up to date on House of Lazarus and the busyness that we found ourselves in during the last 2 years. First, because of our fire, April 2023, when our food bank burnt. So that's major for our board of directors to be dealing with in the last 2 years, but also because the needs in the last 2 years have grown immensely. You can see our mission and our vision to be the first stop community hub that coordinates, support, and provides resources to those in need. Sometimes you need to be careful what you ask for. We're now fielding 800 to 1,000 calls a month with people that are in need. So we're grateful that community is recognizing what we do and that people are coming to us. We've hired some community navigators who really know the resources, both in SDG and because we're so close to the border in North Grenville as well. And just at a glance, you can see we've definitely grown what we're doing and how we're doing it. So we do have two food banks now, our main food bank in Mountain and then another one in Ingleside. We've opened community hubs, community hub and warming center actually in Morrisburg, and now a community hub in Kemptville. Our social enterprise stores, we have two in Mountain and soon to be opening a furniture store in Mountain with our new building. And we have a thrift store in Ingleside as well. Advocacy, we do every day. We have calls to advocate for people, to help people access resources in the community, and then to access our own programs as well. And the number of programs that we deliver, I truly lose count at 18 or so, but some of the main ones are income tax program, our Neighbors Helping Neighbors. We now have community kitchens, Handyman Heroes. Those are some of the main programs. But like I said, look us up on our website and we have well over 18 programs. Food insecurity. So through our food bank, last year, our food banks, we fed over 825 people. In North Dundas alone, 232 of your residents are coming through the doors to our food bank. We know from surveying our clients that 32% are going still full days without eating. Even though they're coming to us, we're subsidizing the food that they get. In many cases, we're the main source of food. We're providing 7 to 10 days worth of food. And we're very fortunate that our food bank is able to do that. Many food banks are having to scale back, but through community donations and through the Second Harvest program, we're really able to provide enough food for people to survive on for 7 to 10 days. So we know that we have to do more in the community, have more food programs for people to access. Our Dinner on the House, which happens every Thursday night, please take the time to drop in. We're now feeding, so in the last year we had over 3,000 meals served, but now in the last 2 months, 3 months, we've been seeing 100, 125 people come to our Thursday night suppers, which is fantastic. There's definitely a need, but it is a community meal, right? So people that are just eating by themselves at home, come on out. And we're very grateful that we were able to hire a community cook last year. So it's made the world of difference in not only our Dinner on the House program, but now we're serving breakfast every Wednesday morning in Winchester as well. And over 865 breakfasts last year served. We had just started a cooking class in Winchester. We have youth cooking going on in Kemptville and other cooking classes in Morrisburg. But this, in Winchester, we had 18 people come out to cook together and then bring home portions of what they've cooked as well. So they cook, they eat, and then they bring home more portions. We started a senior meal program last August, and this is in partnership with JW Mac, but locally with Care4. They were noticing some of their volunteers who deliver Meals on Wheels were noticing that for some seniors, that was the only food that they were getting. They weren't able to get out. They might have had money, but they weren't able to get out, to get to grocery stores, to buy their own food, or they just weren't able to prepare food. So now we provide hampers once a month, additional hampers to these seniors, plus snack packs the other 3 weeks. So just grab and go items that very similar to our Operation Backpack for children, but that seniors can enjoy. Plus we also have frozen meals that our community cook is putting together because some seniors just can't cook. So heating up a meal is doable for them. So this is new to us, but we're so fortunate that we're able to fill in that gap. And then our Green Food Box program, it has been on the move, rising numbers as well. The difference now is that, so these are produce boxes that you can purchase, they used to be set. We would just give you so many vegetables and fruit, but now you can actually choose what fruit and vegetables you like. And so since we've been able to modify the program and give people choice, the numbers have gone up. So we're providing in North Dundas 45 boxes a month. Our Operation Backpack, so every week we're feeding 295 children across Dundas, South Stormont, and North Grenville. Here in North Dundas, at the 4 schools, we're feeding 97 children. So this is providing them with bags of food that they take home on Fridays, and they have food then to eat over the weekends. Unfortunately, this need just keeps growing, but fortunately, we have 6 teams of volunteers that work all week to make sure that those 295 children are getting the bags every week. And over the past few years, the need for housing support has grown immensely. So we've had access to last resort funding, and we have Neighbors Helping Neighbors funding. Really, both pockets of funding are to help people stay housed or to provide first and last month's rent to house the unhoused. In North Dundas, we've helped over 160 families through paying rent arrears, heat, hydro arrears, hooking up heat and hydro at times. Just anything we can do. We pay the companies directly, but we keep these families safe and secure. We've also been able to house many individuals that were unhoused. Through our hub last year, we worked with 38 unhoused individuals, and with funding like this, we were able to house 13 of them. So our Handyman Heroes program, Mike Cross takes the lead in this program, but in the last year in North Dundas alone, we've replaced 2 roofs, we've done emergency plumbing repairs, and we made a house more accessible so seniors could actually stay in their house. We've also been able to expand our Places for People program. We've had in the past 2 units in Williamsburg, 2 3-bedroom units, and in January we are able to open a unit in South Mountain. So this is in partnership with the 4 United Churches in the area. So they have given us access to their manse, and a family, a mom and 2 young girls, daughters moved in January. So this is rent geared to income. Mom is working full-time and pays 30% of her income towards the rent, and Cornwall Housing subsidizes up to fair market value. So you can see we've been busy in the last couple of years. Right now, we do have a building campaign going on. We are fortunate that we had land donated to us right across the street from our main buildings, stores, and offices in Mountain. And our board of directors made the decision to build on that property. We did have access to fire insurance, which is great, but never quite meets the needs. So in this new building, we do have a furniture store, which is great because we do so much of our outreach when women are leaving women's shelter, when people have been victim of fire, when there's been breakup in households, and mom and kids have no access to furniture. A lot of outreach happens through our Starting Over program through furniture. Unfortunately, we've never had enough space before. So this is wonderful that we've been able to add a furniture store onto the new build. We also will have our food bank itself is expanding just to meet the needs. We have so many more people coming out every day to access food, so we've been able to expand the shopping area, because people coming to our food bank actually shop for their food. We set it up like a grocery store. They know how many items they can purchase per se. They don't pay, but they can just shop and choose what they want and what their family needs. So we've been able to expand that area. 3 of our offices will go over as well. As I said, we have community navigators. We're creating more of a hub. There's some flex space that small groups can happen, etc. The kitchen will be licensed through the health unit as well. And then we have the warehouse for the food bank. So we're extremely excited to be opening this, and it will be open in June. There's a lot of food and furniture to move in the meantime. But what we're asking tonight is if the Council of North Dundas would be able to help support a building campaign.
Well, thank you, Kathy, for that presentation. And as always, I'm always overwhelmed by the amount of work that you and your group take on and the number of people you serve in our community and communities outside of North Dundas. And I think back, I'm going to keep stealing time from my fellow councillors. I think back to the backpack program. And I think that might have been the most moving council meeting I've ever been at, is to see that and to hear that presentation from you, and then the response from a member of the audience that had his own story and how important this backpack program is to our community. The cooking class, I just wanted to touch base on the cooking class. You said 18 people. Is that, are there young and old, or strictly old, or is it teenagers?
I think in Winchester, they're adults. We haven't started, opened it to youth yet. What's happened with our community cook, who I hired for 3 days last year, is now working well over full-time hours. It's amazing. She's amazing. And as she has a chance, we'll be adding more. Because in North Grenville, the youth cooking is just, they have over 20 youth coming out twice a month. And it's quite amazing. So that is something on the radar to offer, but she had been asked by adults that were attending the breakfast. And again, it's another source of food for people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And which leads me to, you say you've hired a 3-day-a-week, essentially a full-time cook.
Yeah, she's full-time now.
Is there a certain qualification one needs, or can a volunteer be a mentor or a teacher during these?
We have volunteers at absolutely every program we offer.
So you don't need
so-
a certificate to teach people how to cook, is what I'm sort of driving at.
Well, she has experience being a leader and cooking experience, for sure. And she has her safe food handling course as well. But we do, at dinner on the house, at breakfast, at the cooking classes, we always have volunteers involved as well. It's just to meet the needs of so many people. One cook can't do it all. So,
No, and that's
yeah.
why I asked the question, because
Yep.
there might be opportunity for people that are here or at home watching on YouTube that they might find that's a very important volunteer activity they may want to take part in. I'm sure there are many people that have managed things in their lives and would be open to taking a safe cooking course and maybe volunteer their time to teach. Because I know years ago we talked about having a local chef and trying to figure out how we can get a kitchen going and get some classes going to get kids to learn how to pull stuff out of the pantry and what they can do with stuff in the pantry and learn at a younger age how to cook in a healthy fashion with what's available from the community food share or from the food bank or from anywhere. But that facility of understanding of how to cook and how to cook a healthy meal is something that I feel is important for a young person to learn. And the green food, I think of the time that I took part at one point with Charlie Boland, with the mayor at the time, Eric Duncan, and we took the challenge.
Yes.
And it was found that challenge provided the people taking the challenge 1 week 1 week's worth of food from the food bank, and to manage that food. And I think back to the time, the first year, I had a potato as soft as a sponge, and a carrot that wouldn't stick out straight; it would just droop. And that was my fresh produce for the week. And it was a shocker to me that this is what people may have to subsist on for a week. And I look at the Presbyterian Church and other groups and the Second Harvest, and I was talking to a fellow at at Lactalis about, he was talking about how big his garden's getting. And I said, have you thought about the food bank or community food share? And I'm not sure if that's a proper way to advocate for people with large gardens to plant a bit extra, and to, as opposed to giving it to their friends, give it to House of Lazarus or the food bank or food share.
The exciting thing about the new build is that we will be expanding our walk-in freezer, but also adding a walk-in cooler. And through Food Banks Canada, I was able to receive a capacity grant and have the money to pay for those. But exactly, grow a row, grow an extra row for the food bank. We are now offering 40% of what is given out to families each month is fresh, is frozen. So meats, eggs, milk, proteins, and produce. So we've really expanded in that area because health concerns, right? We need them to get those fresh products. So
That was the biggest challenge, not having fresh produce. It was, it was incomprehensible that people would survive like that. Councillor, did I see your hand?
I think back to many years ago when I first landed here, and I think the House Lazarus at that time was celebrating adding a furnace to the what is currently your furniture store, I guess, or your trinket store, and everywhere, right? Yeah, the household goods store, and to where you've gotten to today, which is both kind of remarkable, but also kind of unfortunate on the other end of things that there's such a need in our community, right? But it is a real testament to a collective of very dedicated individuals that have saw through a lot of these programs and continue to see them through, and that obviously despite efforts at all levels of government, these needs aren't going away and probably aren't likely to. It's not an overnight fix, right? So it is nice that we have something in our community like this, and that these people, when they fall on these times, have somewhere to turn. So thank you for the update, Kathy. I appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Further questions? Councillor Annable, thank you.
I've spent a little bit of time there myself, and it's amazing the volume of people that go through. And people, I think, have been very good to donate. It must be much, I was going to say, easier than it was 10 years ago, but it's something you can count on, is local support. So no, I just think it's a good spot and a good place to be.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Councillor. And finally, Deputy Mayor.
Yes, Kathy, I see actually the community donates a lot of stuff. I mean, I've been there and I've seen where you are now, where the furniture, everything is just sticking out and so much sorting to do. And listen, about the gardens, you don't have to plant an extra row. I mean, when tomato season comes on, well, when you were close to me, I used to bicycle there, but now I have to drive. The tomatoes all come at once, the cucumbers all come at once, and to bring them over to you fresh, I know your cook uses them.
She does.
Yeah.
And now that we have a cook, it's great because when tomatoes are ripe all at once, we give out as much as we can, but then she's able to freeze a lot that she uses then in soups and casseroles all year with the dinner on the house and the other programs that she's cooking at. So it's great to have that capacity now as well.
Thank you. And you mentioned dinner on the house. It's not at Knox Presbyterian anymore in Mountain, is it?
No, it's at the Winchester United Church now on Thursday nights.
I thought maybe someone else was hosting. So, I'm sorry, it's downstairs at the United Church?
It's at the Winchester United Church, yes, every Thursday night from 4 to 7.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. And later on in the evening or this later this afternoon, we'll be touching on more about support for the House of Lazarus.
Thank you so much.
So thank you for your time. Thank you for the presentation. So we're going to move into staff reports, and we have the corporate services, the clerk, speaking to Dairy Fest 2025, an event of municipal significance. That council designates the Dairy Fest Festival being held on Saturday, August 9, 2025, as a public event of municipal significance. And do I have a mover? Deputy Mayor and a seconder. Councillor Annable. Madam Clerk. Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
One question, Mr. Mayor. Because, and I'm on that committee, because they want to be allowed alcohol on the grounds outside, is that going to cost us more in insurance? Because it's a wider area for the alcohol? Does it cost more or not? No, okay. Thank you.
Further questions, comments? See none, all those in favor? Opposed, see none, that's carried. And next for the, Madam Clerk, the Budget Amendment, House of Lazarus. Council approved Budget Amendment number 2025-05 to transfer $10,000 from the Cemetery Maintenance Fund to donations and transfers to others account to provide for a donation to House of Lazarus. Do I have a mover? Councillor Urick, a seconder. Councillor Annable. Madam Clerk. Well, thank you for that update and for that information about the in-kind services. I do have any further questions, comments? I do have something I'd just like to raise now, maybe captured so I don't forget the next budget. That if we could investigate an opportunity to make an ongoing donation to support the challenges that we're facing until the province really sees the light and understands the challenges that local municipalities, lower tier municipalities face in supporting those in need. I know there's been some changes in finances coming down from the province to support social services and to sit and listen to the good works and efforts of the House of Lazarus and to not be concerned that enough support isn't coming from the province. I think we need to investigate that. So for the next budget, if we can look at some mechanism. Saying all that, all those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you. And we're going to move into development services. Bylaw number 2025-34, renewal of sewage system management agreement with the South Nation Conservation Authority. That bylaw number 2025-34 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement with the South Nation River Conservation Authority for sewage system management services to be passed and enacted the 7th day of May 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Urick, a seconder, Deputy Mayor. And development services, am I looking at Mr. Paul?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Fraser. So this is a contract renewal for septic systems in North Dundas. South Nation's been provided the service for many, many years now and doing an excellent job with that. So this is a 5-year renewal contract to keep the service going with South Nation.
Thank you. Questions, comments, Deputy Mayor?
Yes, I have one question. By sewer systems, do they only have their input for septic tanks and tile beds, or do they also have to advise us for municipal sewage systems? It's just a curiosity question.
Yeah, this is strictly private systems
Okay.
for properties, up to 10,000 liters, then it goes to Ministry of the Environment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Bylaw number 2025-40, tariff of fees planning. That bylaw number 2025-40 being a bylaw to update and replace tariff of fees bylaw number 2024-36 be passed and enacted the 7th day of May 2025. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Annable. Mr. Paul.
Thank you. So we're looking at updating our fees for inflation, essentially, for the most part. The certain fees have gone down a little bit also because we now have delegated authority, so it's a much quicker system. I'm no longer having to prepare a report for council for routine items and having to present it at council, so there's a time savings there, and that's reflected in our fees as well. And some other fees have just remained unchanged. No need to adjust them at this time.
Thank you. Questions, comments from members of council? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Bylaw number 2025-41, Committee of Adjustment Council Member Appointment. That bylaw number 2025-41 being a bylaw to appoint a member of council to the Township of North Dundas Committee of Adjustment be passed and enacted the 7th day of May 2025. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bergeron, seconded by Councillor Annable. Mr. Paul.
So council, if it has a member on the Committee of Adjustment, it must appoint a new member every year. And it can select among yourselves who wants to sit on the committee. And the proposal in the bylaw right now is to renew the membership of Gary Annable on the committee.
Questions, comments? Councillor Annable?
No, I enjoy it.
All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. And the 2025 Regional Incentive Program grants. The council approves the disbursement of up to $53,895.77 under the county's SDG Regional Incentives Program to be distributed as followed. $25,000 to 100411068 Canada Inc., $25,000 to Dundas Machine Inc., and $3,895.77 to Video Game Mansion, and that the funding is subject to the terms of financial agreement. Moved by Councillor Annable, seconded by Councillor Uhrig. Mr. Paul.
So we had 4 applications this year for the Regional Incentive Program. 3 of them were successful, which is great news for North Dundas once again that we're getting these grants. The first one is an industrial building, which you can actually see going up across the street here on Gypsy Lane. That's a new business. It's a warehouse for scaffolding. You'll start seeing the walls go up probably this week or next. They're well underway with that project. Dundas Machine, which is just in behind here, is doing a new building, a steel building. They're expanding their workforce and everyone also, so they're looking for another building beside their existing one, which is great news on Gypsy Lane. Excuse me. And Video Game Mansion is a commercial business with a smaller grant of close to $4,000. The total investment in the municipality is something to be proud of, as we're looking at a $4 million investment with all these buildings, just these 4 projects or 3 projects that were approved. So it's a great, we're giving a little bit of money through the counties, and we're getting a good kickback as far as the amount of development we're getting.
Yeah, it is a very, very successful program, successful for those successful applicants. It's beneficial to them, and I'm going to steal the thunder from some that say, yeah, taxes will go up. Well, yes, they will. Their assessment will go up, but that's not our main goal. Our main goal is to provide an opportunity for business to expand, and you can see with the $4 million of investment that's going to take place with these projects, the 53,000, am I correct? 53, almost $54,000 coming in a circuitous way from the counties is very beneficial, and it does support a lot of things. And it's good work. Congratulations to Mr. Mann, Stephen Mann, or ECDEV, for supporting these and ensuring that the applications had as much opportunity for success as possible. And so thanks to Mr. Mann. All those questions, comments? I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. All those in favor? Opposed? See none. That's approved. Or carried, I should say. And then bylaw number 2025-44, zoning bylaw amendment, the updated recommendation from May 5th, 2025, that bylaw number 2025-44 being a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw 12-93 to amend the zoning of the property at 13645 Kennedy Road 9, Cheshire, Ontario from agriculture AG to agriculture special exemption 44 AG-44 be read a first and second time in open council the 7th day of May 2025. Moved by Councillor Annable, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bergeron. Mr. Pohl.
So following up on the public meeting, that we need an official plan amendment first to match that or to go ahead of this, so we'll be waiting for that. And once that's approved, we can do third and final for this application.
Questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? See none. That's carried. We're going to move into finance. Bylaw number 2025-39, adopting tax rates. That bylaw number 2025-39 being a bylaw to adopt the 2025 tax rates and to establish the due dates thereof be passed and enacted the 7th day of May 2025. Moved by Councillor Uhrig, seconded by Councillor Annable. Mr. Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a annual bylaw that needs to be passed in order to pass the tax rates so that we can levy the taxes and collect. Just a couple of things I wanted to bring up is there is the possibility of a Canada Post strike. So we're working hard once the tax rates are established to get the tax bills out, hopefully by early next week. That way all the residents can receive their tax bills prior to the strike. A couple of things that this also helps with is it can increase our cash flow, that we will get some of that property tax income in sooner. And allow residents to make arrangements to either pay online or at their financial institutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We're going to move to to the fire. Again, we have 3 key information reports, and Chief.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council.
We have, they just showed up.
And look who's here.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. So this, the first report is simply our quarterly update. The training update has been in there. You guys have seen these before. You can see we're slowly moving back towards what we would consider regular training as our certifications. We're starting to catch up on them. Point 3 of that training bullet. In those courses that we send people to, RTCs, those costs move upwards of about $450 a person per course. Just the admission fee, I guess you would say, to that. And I'd like you to just keep that number in mind as I move to my next KIR. That will reinforce the point of that one. In the prevention, just want to make note and a thank you to the Lions Clubs from Winchester Mountain and Chesterville. Those donations were $500 each for a total of $1,500 towards our smoke detector and fire extinguisher program. So very, very welcome funds to go out to the communities for people who need smoke detectors. And like anything else, the cost of a smoke detector has risen quite a bit in the last few years. So we want to make sure that everybody's safe, and that program is a great way to do so. The other thing I'd like council to note again is the stats. 32% increase over last year in the first quarter, which is not unfortunately uncommon. Our numbers have, obviously 2020 was an anomaly, but our numbers have steadily increased for public emergencies since then. So.
Any insight on the 32% increase?
I guess one of them, I would say, is more people moving around. Motor vehicle collisions are up. Medical calls are up, possibly because of MPDS. We're still monitoring that to see if there's any increase as to why we are perhaps on scene or on certain scenes. So we are looking at that triage system to see if it's affecting those numbers. However, as I noted in last year's report, in the month of February, last year we used our ADs more than we had the entire year before. And this year, January and February, again, we were almost on par with the same number of use of our ADs. I don't know what the reason would be. We do have an older population, so that's part of it, but our numbers are increasing. Sorry.
Don't be looking at me when you say that.
I was trying to glance away.
Oh,
so.
okay, I'm good. And a big aside, and I appreciate that the three local chiefs are here with us tonight, and welcome. The stats that our chief relatable to your stats, so it's across Eastern Ontario then. Thank you. Questions, comments for the chief on this one? And the next one is about the collaboration.
And the next is the collaboration. So I'd like to welcome my colleagues, Dave Robertson from South Glengarry, Nancy Ngoche from North Stormont, and Jeremy Aldred Hughes from South Dundas. And that's what this KIR is all about, supporting each other. We want to reiterate, this is a collaboration, not an amalgamation of any sort of fire services. We are simply trying to reduce the cost. So as we move through the certification process, as I said, it costs $450 per person for certain courses to send them to RTCs. With this collaboration, we can lower this cost to simply the $65 fee, of course, plus the wages that we pay the firefighter, but that is irrelevant because it's the same price regardless. And we can work together, send 2 to 3 people from each municipality, 4 or 5 perhaps, and still meet the testing requirements from the AS&E, from the testing standard, and then that will allow us to further reduce the costs of those, because if I only have 4 people, I cannot get a test from AS&E. You have to have a minimum of 12. So if we can pull a few from other municipalities, we can bring in this test and reduce our costs. And this is just one of the ways we're trying to find efficiencies in our fire services. And going forward, when we get into more of the technical programs, we may be looking at each municipality possibly specializing in something that we can offer our neighbor, that we're not all jumping into heavy expenses. So.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor Urick.
Yeah, thanks, Chief. I just want to say this really just compounds further for me why we, as a council, made this change that we did with our fire department, right? All kudos and credit goes to the steering committee of old. I would never besmirch the work that they did, but the fact that we now have dedicated personnel that can simply work on these efficiencies that are of a benefit to everybody in this municipality and our neighbors, fantastic. So kudos to you, Chief. Kudos to the work done. Kudos to all our firefighters, honestly. This is fantastic, so thank you for the updates.
Thank you for your comments. And the collaboration effort, and the Chief and I have had discussions before, and I've talked to 2 of the chiefs I know quite well that are with us tonight. And we're all somewhat unique, but here is something that we're not unique. This is the training, the expectation, and the safety of firefighters, the safety of our community. Those things aren't unique. Our demographics might be unique. Our budgets are unique. and the cultures of each of our communities is unique. But this collaboration, to Councillor Urig's thoughts, it's very, very beneficial to all of us that we all support this collaboration and the efforts, the focus efforts of the chief and the other chiefs with us in the audience are making all the firefighters safer, looking for efficiencies that can be had. I'm just repeating what Councillor Urig had to say, but yeah, it's the collaboration as opposed to amalgamation. I'm very good with. You're right. And I appreciate that. And the third one.
And the third one, so this is just a request from Township of Russell Fire Services. They are having bridge reconstruction on South Russell Road. And for that time frame, they are not going to have easy access from the Russell Fire Station to an area just north of Morewood. And they're requesting assistance from North Dundas to that. As you can see in the report, in a 4.5-year stretch, there were only 22 incidents in that area. They're only requesting us for fire at this time, or perhaps serious MVCs. So again, we could be looking at 2, 3, 4 calls perhaps over the whole time frame. And I would like to say that in 2024, Russell provided us with an aerial device on 2 occasions. They didn't charge us for it, but the charge, had they billed out at the going rate, would have been well over $10,000 for those 2 calls. So I think if we can reciprocate a little friendly, in the spirit of mutual aid, I think that's a nice gesture for us.
Yes, questions, comments from members of council? Councillor Urig?
No, I would agree that that's good reciprocation in terms of that. And if anybody in Russell is watching, the time has passed. You can't charge us now, so move on.
No, good. No, yes, yes, mutual, in the spirit of mutual aid, in the spirit of being neighborly, in the spirit of understanding that, yeah, and I think back to some of the discussions I've been having this week about, as a council, council members supporting other council members and, you know, at the upper tier with their challenges, and this is akin to that. There's a short-term challenge, and we're able to accommodate, I'm sure, and satisfy their requirements, and I think it's only right that, yeah, we do, as firefighters do, they do. Okay, that sounds very good. So thank you very much for the key informations, and we're going to move into Mr. Cheney, Director Cheney, budget transportation budget amendment number 2025-02, roadway paving, Boundary Road. Council approved budget amendment number 2025-02 to transfer funds within the Transportation Department's capital roads budget for roadway paving for the paving of Boundary Road, the west end, from County Road 43 south to the North Grenville boundary with no additional funds required. Moved by Councillor Annable, seconded by Councillor Urig. Mr. Cheney.
Thank you, Mayor Fraser, members of council. So a little bit of exciting news for us here at the township. So back in the spring, we did a joint tender with the counties for our 2025 roadway paving. And it has been awarded to Cornwall Gravel Company Limited, and the supplied unit rates have come back well under our budgeted pricing for 2025. So we have an approximate savings of $300,000 in our total roadway paving this year. So staff is looking for council's approval to add back in Boundary Road, which originally was part of our 2025 budget, but due to budget constraints, it was pulled back out. Staff has reached out to North Grenville, and they are willing to pay their half, as it is a Boundary Road. So there'll be no additional funds by adding Boundary Road back in. It's a matter of moving funds from our overall paving and just to add Boundary Road back in. To complete this project, the 2025 budget amendment is looking to transfer $175,000 from the capital roads paving just to add Boundary Road back in again.
Yes, thank you. Questions, comments? Councillor Urick?
I'll just comment, that's fantastic news, and the fact that North Grenville is going to come to the table too is even better. That stretch of road is certainly one that needs attention, and to be able to add it back in is fantastic, especially when we have some other projects in that end of the municipality as well, right? So it all part and parcel, so fantastic, and yeah, thanks, appreciate the update.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. And then we'll move on to referring to roadway paving on Belanger. The council approved budget amendment number 2025-03 to transfer funds within the Transportation Department's capital roads budget for roadway paving for the paving of Belanger Road from County Road 43 north to Gypsy Lane with no additional funds required. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bergeron, seconded by Councillor Annable. And Mr. Cheney.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council. Again, as part of what I just mentioned of the approximate $300,000 savings that we have this year due to unit rates, we are already part of 2025 budget is to pave Maple Ridge Road. So Belanger Road is in some, needs some TLC. So we have enough to add that back in from County Road 43 up to at least Gypsy Lane. We'll get that section paved up this year should council agree to this, this amendment. Thanks.
Questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none. Thank you very much, Mr. Cheney. Remove the recreation and culture, the key information report on capital updates to the Chesterland District Arena. Ms. Meerberg.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. In the fall, staff applied to the Community Sport and Recreation Fund for $1 million in funding for capital repairs to the Chesterland District Arena. Unfortunately, we have still not received notification of award or denial, and we have come to the point where we need to proceed with the procurement process and implementation of the capital updates now in order to ensure that the projects are complete before ice goes in, so that arena operations are not impacted. Council has asked for authorization for staff to proceed, understanding that any potential grant funding could be negatively impacted.
Questions, comments? Deputy Mayor.
It's kind of depressing that the funding could be impacted if we go ahead. So my question was, how long could we stall this? Like, you're expecting an answer about when, about the grant? They just said spring?
Yes.
So how long could we wait before we repair the roof where we have to repair the roof? Do you know, right?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I was advised yesterday by our facilities manager that the roof is leaking.
Right.
The condenser, last time we purchased one to replace it for the for the Sam Malt Arena, the lead time we were advised was 6 to 12 weeks, so quite a big window. We got it in just in time last year due to the tariffs and that going on. It could be longer right now, but what we would do is go through the purchasing policy in alignment with the purchasing policy and delay as long as we could on some of the projects, so as not to implicate anything, but perhaps the doors could wait a bit longer than the roof repair or the condenser. We could wait as long as we could, so that if we were awarded any grant funds, hopefully the implications would be much less. That's the best that we could do.
Further questions? Councillor Urick?
So I guess to that point, I guess we could do due diligence without expenditure to this point, in a sense. In the event that, let's say, in a perfect world, in a month's time we hear back on the grant, kind of thing. Is that okay? I just want to get my head around that, because when you hear things are already breaking down, but we've also potentially, yeah, okay. Come back to me.
So my challenge, my concern is much like whenever we went to ask for money from the, I'm sorry to point, but whenever Ms. Ward attended and presented asking for money from Minister of Infrastructure because we couldn't wait any longer. We couldn't wait any longer. We needed to get the water. We needed to get the sewer upgrades, the expansion of the lagoon, I think I'm correct. And we couldn't wait any longer. And when we met with great information, great presentation, and the minister was very enthralled with all of our presentation. And until they heard that we had already started on the project, and they said, well, too bad, so sad. Too bad you took the initiative. We have to wait for those municipalities that have no initiative. And essentially is what she was saying. And it was quite a disappointment to think that if we had just let everything fall right to pieces, the province would pick us up. And it's disheartening to think that's the way it works. So my question is, after that story, is will that do the same thing to us? To have someone say you're disqualified from any grant money, or just the $388,000 of grant money? Because if we get the grant, that 388 becomes 190 some thousand dollars, as opposed to 388, and because that's the matching grant. It's $1 million, upwards of $1 million, and they would whatever expense. So this is my fear, that we would be left holding the bag for every repair that goes on at that Chesterfield Arena if we advance on this, and this is what I need to know. I have to understand, what are we going to be disqualified from? Some, all, bits, parts, percentages.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, that's a great question. We can look into that. The implication, though, at this point is that our regular maintenance contractor has advised us that the condenser may go if we don't do it. So if we don't go forward with these things, and if we don't get them replaced in time, we could lose the ice at some point during the season. So we could work with our suppliers, our regular contractors, and see if they could hold off on invoicing as long as possible. That's something that we could look into, and hold off on the replacement as long as possible. But I think it's the procurement process and it's the lead time that we need to really look at right now.
And I think the suppliers need to understand, our partners need to understand that everything could double in price and then be invoiced, and the next week find out we received the grant money and then it's still double in price. I think they need to understand that challenge. But again, maybe the user groups need to understand, as we're going to get down to ice rental rates, how this may impact ice rental rates if we have to pay double for something, or do we hold off on putting the ice in for a week or 2 weeks to ensure that the most efficient use of tax dollars is used? So I think I think there are some questions that we need answered before we can commit to potentially not receiving any grant money, and which was going to be the savior to this whole Chesterfield Arena project, is the grant. So I look forward to more information. I think some of the challenges or just updates but maybe at the next meeting or the one after, whatever works. But we need more information. I need more information before I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Fair enough? Council? Okay. You'd think they'd understand that ice goes in at a certain time, though. They'd get the approvals. Anyway. Aquatic programming agreement that council, I'm not going to read that. I don't have that information. That the council approved the attached aquatic program agreement between the corporation of the Township of North Dundas and the YMCA, and authorized the mayor and director of recreation and culture to execute the agreement on behalf of the township. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Uhrig. Ms. Meerberg.
Sorry. So during the February council meeting, the partnership between the township and the YMCA for management of the aquatic programming at both of our municipal pools was approved in principle, and the finalized agreement is provided for council authorization this evening.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in, oh, did I say move by already? Questions, comments, seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, seeing none, that's carried. The strategic plan. The council adopt the Township of North Dundas Recreation and Cultural Strategic Plan prepared by Sierra Planning and Management, moved by Councillor Uhrig, seconded by Councillor Annable and Ms. Meerberg.
The Recreation and Culture Strategic Plan has been completed as included in the council package this evening, and it's requested that council formally adopt the plan document. The next steps will be for staff to prioritize recommendations and prepare an action plan proposal for council review and consideration.
Thank you. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed, seeing none, that's carried. We're going to move to the proposed Hallville pedestrian crossings. These are for the crossings to access that the Brian Telford Park, and which is moving along quite nicely. The council support the request for pedestrian crossovers level 2 type C on County Road 1 at the intersection of Kerrs Ridge Road and St. John Street as presented. I need a mover, and a moved by Deputy Mayor, and a seconder, Councillor Uhrig. Ms. Meerberg.
The report presented to council included a recommendation for crosswalks to be constructed on County Road 1 at the intersections of St. John Street and Kerrs Ridge Road. These locations were selected and designed by our project engineer, Novatech, with support and feedback from our Director of Transportation and county engineers. The proposed placements were selected based on visibility, safety, anticipated pedestrian traffic flow, and the Ontario Traffic Manual requirements, and facilitating connectivity to the new Brian Telford Community Park. As such, traffic count was not considered. Staff also acknowledged that the amount of young pedestrians crossing the county road to get to the popular Laughlin's Country Store will likely increase with the introduction of the new park. So concerns for pedestrian safety concerns will rise. Although our senior municipal law enforcement officer has received multiple complaints about vehicular traffic speeding through the village limits of Hallville, the municipal speed radar and passing vehicle count study that is currently underway at the North Village limit has not yet been completed. Data will be collected, processed, and is anticipated to be available for the July meeting of council. It is acknowledged that the placement of a crosswalk at St. John Street will facilitate a safe path of travel across County Road 1 for over 50 surrounding homes. For this reason, the residential count in that area is viewed to be adequate to support a crosswalk at St. John Street. In comparison, there is approximately 15 homes to the west of the proposed crosswalk located by Kerrs Ridge Road. As data regarding traffic counts and speeds is not currently available to support situating a crosswalk at that intersection, it is recommended that the decision regarding the crosswalk locations be deferred until the July meeting of council, when additional information can be provided to council and used during the decision-making process.
Thank you for all that information. Yes, I'm looking forward to more information on that whole area. But I do understand the challenges that we face in ensuring that as we grow and expand to the north, that everyone is able to get across and enjoy that park safely, get across the road safely. Madam CEO, Madam Clerk, I'm going to take a little straw poll to see, do we need to vote yes or no on this one, or just go to deferral? So, do we have a willingness to look at a deferral. So we're gonna look at a deferral. Bear with me as I juggle this. So I'm going to ask for a vote on a deferral, madam, or a vote on the resolution in front of me. Thank you for your help. So that this motion be deferred until July 2nd, 2025 to allow staff an opportunity to collect additional traffic data at these locations to support this request. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bergeron and Councillor Annable. All those in favor? Opposed, seeing none. And finally, I do believe finally, that the request for council to support pedestrian crossovers level 2 type C on County Road 1 at the intersection of Kerrs Ridge Road and St. John Street be deferred to July 2, 2025 to allow staff an opportunity to collect additional traffic data at these locations to support this request. Moved by Councillor Annable, seconded by Councillor Uhrig. All those in favor? Okay. Opposed, seeing none, that's carried. Madam Clerk, fine. Thank you very much for your hand-holding through that. I appreciate it. And now we're going to move to adoption of ice rental rates for the 2025-2026 season. The council authorize and approve the 2025-2026 to 2029-2030 ice rental rates in accordance with option 2 rate category. Moved by Councillor Annable, seconded by Councillor Uhrig. Ms. Meerberg.
Following the April council meeting, representatives from the Hawks, Winchester Skating Club, and North Dundas Minor Hockey Association continue to work together to come up with a new ice rental rate option, which is presented in my report as option 2. While this option will generate less revenue in the upcoming season, so 25-26, than the recommended rate that was previously provided for council consideration, the long-term revenue generated is greater than option 1. So option 2 also provides our local user groups with a more gradual increase that will minimize the impact on the organizers and be more affordable to the end user group upon implementation.
Well, Ms. Meerberg, I want to thank you for all your efforts to work with our user groups and the time spent doing this to get to that point. I'm sure it took many, many hours and of understanding the challenges that our user groups face and doing your best to accommodate that, but at the same time looking for ensuring that we're able to keep up with our things I've learned. Our net operating income. The first meeting it was, what is NOI? But now I know, so I appreciate that and all the effort. Questions, comments? Councillor Uhrig.
Yeah, no, I'd echo that, Mr. Mayor. It's understandably a delicate balance in terms of, revenue coming in and expenditure in terms of capital and all that. But to see the level of collaboration that perhaps didn't once exist, and not necessarily on the municipality's part, but I know, there's a more focused effort now in terms of collaboration between us and these user groups. And I am pleased to see that the more civil of those representatives have come to the table to have these conversations, because I know it's been acrimonious at times. So I was with a member of one of our user groups last night, actually up at the Ball Diamond, and she was very impressed to see this action request in the package for this evening. So I pass on that compliment to you, Ms. Meerberg, and fantastic collaboration. I love it, and great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you very much. Brian Telford Community Park Phase 3 amenities. The council authorized and approved that Novatech's contract for professional services for the Brian Telford Community Park be amended to include engineering, architecture, and contract administration related to the splash pad. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bergeron and Councillor Annable. Ms. Meerberg.
During the RFP process for the park engineering and architecture, Novatech provided a provisional price for professional services related to the splash pad, including engineering, architecture, and contract administration. Novatech and their subconsultants are very familiar with the park project. They're available and willing to provide the required professional services, and the affiliate cost is within our allotted budget. So we're looking for permission to move forward with including them.
Thank you. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. The Rideau St. Lawrence Family Health Team, that council allow the Rideau St. Lawrence Family Health Team to continue to occupy the office space in the lower level of the municipal building located at 547 St. Lawrence Street in Winchester for a term of 3 years commencing on May 7, 2025 and ending on May 8, 2028 for a set rent of $5,000 plus HST per year. Moved by Councillor Annable, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bergeron. Ms. Meerberg.
As per the delegation this evening from Ms. Donna Dureshi, the Executive Director of the Rideau St. Lawrence Family Health Team, the health team has been sharing the office space in the lower level of the Winchester OPP Library Fire Hall building with the Seaway Valley Seaway Valley Community Health Center since 2020. Although the Seaway Valley Community Health Center has recently stopped using the space, the family health team would like to continue to operate their not-for-profit practice out of that location. Council is asked to authorize the continued use of the space in principle under the terms outlined in the resolution, and a formal agreement will be brought forward to a future meeting.
Thank you. Questions, comments? No, I'm looking forward to that continued relationship, as we've all expressed earlier about the need to work together. And I hope that Ms. Durocher, we have all your contact information, because we do need I think we need to investigate more about some of the opportunities whenever if we get an opportunity to present as a delegation at AMO in Ottawa in August. And it's all part of some of our plans. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Is that a reminder? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Meerberg. We're going to move into environmental services, and Director Ward, key information report, health and safety water stream funding 2025 options.
Has probably seen this report before. You'll recall, I believe I brought this report to council in February, and we talked about grant applications, and we at that time determined we were going to submit the $22 million option that's outlined in this package for federal funding. So there's two envelopes right now that are available. So the federal funding one has not yet been awarded. And the timeline on that is just been pushed back because, as council's aware, there was a federal election, so they didn't make any decisions on funding. So I imagine that that decision will follow shortly. And the second envelope that's available right now is the Health and Safety Water Stream Fund. So that's the one that I'm looking for council to review options on what they'd like to submit. So North Dundas was not successful in any of the Housing Enabling Water Services Fund applications. So I feel strongly that we will have a good case to submit a project on behalf of North Dundas for this funding. So just a bit of background, this is $175 million that's available for 444 municipalities. So not a whole lot of money, especially when you're talking about water, sewer, and stormwater infrastructure. So the items, the projects that I've kind of outlined before you are kind of options that I think that staff feel are more amenable to the current stream. So this stream looks at resiliency for infrastructure. It looks at offering health and safety with regards to water. And then it also looks at preserving and increasing housing stock. So the options presented do all of those things. You will note that there are a mixture of projects that I've outlined with other directors. So there is some municipal drainage in there, as well as some stormwater projects as well. So looking for some feedback, I can, if you'd like, Mr. Mayor, I can run through each option very briefly. So council is aware it's a 73% funding envelope. So all of these projects will be 73% funding if we're successful. So if we look at the transmission line upgrade, which is the one we submitted to the federal government, so that's 16 million would be paid by the province, and then 5.9 from our own coffers. So we would pay that amount. That would be what we'd be committing if we were successful. St. Lawrence pumping station upgrades, the province would commit 2.9, and then we would have to commit 1.08 million. John and Harper Street in Chesterville. So this is an interesting project because this is water, sewer, stormwater, and roads. We actually are just finishing the design on that envelope. So this would be a 2.019 million from the province, and then 746,000 would come from taxation, water and sewer, and storm. What's interesting about this project is this housing, the clean or safe water, I'm not sure what they're calling it these days, health and safety water stream funding, excuse me, allows you to stack OSIF funding. So as council's aware, we get OSIF funding every year for roads. So the roads part of that 746,000 could come from the OSIF funding. So that 746 might be zero to taxation and just be on water sewer. So keep that in mind. Henderson Drain, that's a little bit complex, but again, I've been told we are working towards the design on that one being somewhat completed. So that's a 1.8 million from the province, and then 675,000 from our coffers, or from everyone on the drain determining what council would like to do with that. The St. Lawrence trunk main and Winchester Reservoir upgrade would be 2.55 from the province and 945,000 from water sewer. And then the Wellings of Winchester water main loop project. So I've presented this option to council a few times. This would get 803,000 from the province, and then there'd be 297 left for the township or a developer to fund, so or in partnership thereof. So these are sort of the projects we've defined that we think would be somewhat successful in this project envelope. The ones that are listed, the first two are actually the ones we feel would be most successful. But again, looking for council's feedback and direction on where you'd like to go, understanding that committing, that's a lot of money to commit regardless of receiving that amount of money. So just looking for some feedback.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Okay, could you repeat the total amount of money that the province is putting in this program? Did you say $175 million is being put aside for 434,000 communities?
444 municipalities.
Okay.
Yep,
four-
175
still,
million.
It's
Yep.
bad. Okay.
Yeah.
My first thought, if it had been like, let's say they put aside $3 billion or something, I would have said, apply for the 22 million because we may not get it from the federal, and we may as well go for the big bucks. But then if I'm thinking they only have 175 million put aside to be divided between over 400 municipalities, if we were to apply this one for $22 million, that's a big chunk of that 175, and we may not be successful. So now I'm gearing towards the second one. My opinion, sole opinion.
Thank you. Further questions, comments, thoughts? It's a lot of money. I need to have a better understanding of the opportunities of applying not to counter your concern, Deputy Mayor, but to your concern and to your thoughts on $22 million of $175 million seems quite that it is impossible to achieve success with that. But I look at some of the projects we've undertaken in the past, and sometimes the thought is go for the biggest one you can get, because the rest, you have almost the same opportunity to get that lesser amount to the less. To the less, the less, if you're looking at a $4 million St. Lawrence Street pumping station and all of that, there's also that train of thought. Do you want to go for the big brass ring and miss it, or do you want to go for something smaller and miss it as well? Because there's a very limited amount of money. So it's a philosophical thought, which way you want to attack that. I know in the past we've gone for bigger and not achieved success, and then we've gone for smaller and not achieved success. So nothing is a guarantee. I do want to have more discussion. This is big money. I think it's a good opportunity for us to be together and express our thoughts on that, and maybe your thoughts change my thoughts and supports other thoughts. So I think this is more of an opportunity to have questions asked. And the deadline, Ms.
June
Ward?
26th. So the next council meeting, I looked to the clerk, sorry, June 4th. So that would leave me with some time to apply, if council would like to revisit.
What I'm suggesting, I'm sorry to cut you off, what I'm suggesting is that for this kind of money, I think we all need to come in and spend time with Ms. Ward in her department, in her office with Danielle and Doug, and get a better grip on the opportunities and the benefits of. And so that before the June 4th meeting, well before the June 4th meeting, she has an idea of which way we're going. So she's not asked that June 4th to start on this project. Still, at June 4th, present it and have it agreed upon, but I think we need to be more than just a quick go around here to figure out how we're going to spend $22 million or not, or seek $22 million in support. So is that amenable? And we need to commit to showing up and seeing Ms. Ward in her office and understanding the challenges that each one of these opportunities we face with them. Man, that's big money.
So the bonus, Mr. Mayor, is we have not started any of the work on any of these projects. So to your point earlier, we have learned our lesson.
Yes, yes. Yeah, don't be proactive. Keep your hand out and hope they pick you up. Okay, so we're going to move to bylaw number 2025-27, solid waste management services. Bylaw number 2025-27 being a bylaw to permit the Township of North Dundas to provide solid waste management services be passed and enacted the 7th day of May 2025. Moved by Councillor Annabelle, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bergeron. Ms. Ward.
So thank you, Mayor. So council will recall I brought this to the last meeting in April to just formalize a policy that we had made years ago. And at that time, I wasn't looking for any significant changes. I was actually asking council to increase level of service to add curbside leaf and yard waste collection from May all the way till the end of November. So in this document, I'm looking to bring back the same bylaw, but I wanted to highlight two things to council because there were two things that kind of came out of me presenting that and some feedback that I received. So one of the items is that the branches that we're receiving, we've at the landfill currently, we do not charge for brush and any tree trimmings. And what's happening now is we have, I'm sure for those members who have visited the landfill site, is a very large brush pile that we don't have any funds to remove. So a lot of that brush pile was from the ice storm that we had in 2023, which obviously the township took that to manage. But what I'd like to do moving forward is start setting a fee of $10 per load of branches that are coming in so that we can then set that aside for the grinding of that material. And council will see I did kind of the quick math there. So to rent a tub grinder is $450 an hour. And, you know, that pile that's sitting there alone is probably 2 weeks worth. So we're looking at $36,000 that we could offset a little bit if we had some revenue coming in. And to be clear, that $10 would go into a fund to fund that grinding every year. So it wouldn't be looking to offset anything else. The other thing that I did want to highlight to council is that we were looking at adding a 6-bag limit for the leaf and yard waste a week. Since we're offering it from May to November, I just want members of the public to understand that if they put out, 20 or 100 bags all at once, it really does impact how quickly we can collect other waste, because it is a dual stream truck, so we also still have to pick up garbage with that truck. So if we go down to 6 per week from May to October, May to November, that offers sufficient amount of time. And of course, we take it for free at the landfill as well. So those are just the two things I wanted to highlight. I can answer any questions you have about those items, but other than that, the remainder of the bylaw remains the same as we discussed last time.
Thank you. Questions, comments then? To the 6 bags, and to the, and we've all seen that. People, or I shouldn't say we've all seen that. That's presumptuous. I've seen it, and I've gone to into Russell, and you see all kinds of bags at the curb waiting to be picked up. And I think the same thing. How do they do that and then continue picking up garbage, because they have to come all the way back and then avoid all the garbage because it's gone, and then start picking up more leaf bags. So it is quite a inefficient use of time and resources. I'm just wondering, is 6 going to be manageable? Is 6 too much?
So the 6 was set on based on feedback from operations staff. So obviously I'm not an expert on how much garbage or waste we can fit in the back. So the gentlemen that work on the back of the truck, they have provided me with that number. They feel confidently that that's good because we do get good compaction with leaf and yard waste as long as there's no branches, which we have eliminated in the previous bylaw. So they feel comfortable with that number. I suppose we'll give it a go this year, and if it's a disaster, I'll bring it back to council and we'll make an adjustment.
Fair enough. No, and that was I appreciate the idea of because we would set a date for the leaf and yard waste bags to be picked up, and then it might be too early or weeks too late, and so I think this having this timeline, I think, and some control. And I think people will, I'm sure people won't abuse it, and people will understand the challenges, and yeah. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Bylaw number 2025-43, South Dundas Water. Bylaw number 2025-43 being a bylaw to initiate a collaborative effort with the municipality of South Dundas to explore potential joint water servicing projects in the future as both North and South Dundas continue to grow. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bergeron, seconded by Councillor Annable. Ms. Ward.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is I want to be clear with council, this is not, this is more of a formality in getting your permission to approach the municipality of South Dundas to look at future options. So this is not in our this is not a 5-year plan, this is not a 10-year, this is looking further out to see exactly where we can fit in potential growth. So in Ottawa, you're aware, I believe I mentioned it at the last council meeting, we did reach out as part of Ottawa's master servicing plan to figure out if we could fit within their 25 to 30-year growth plan. We do not at this time. So the idea is South Dundas is completing the same kind of exercise, and this would be the time for us to at least approach them and get on their radar to make sure that, you know, if we could be included, our needs would be looked at as part of that. And then also kind of just form that original kind of working group or, you know, collaboration where we can dialogue back and forth and look at costs. As council is aware, we did join the Joint Servicing Municipal Commission for water and wastewater, looking at a utility model. So this would also be part of that step, is just reaching out to our neighbors and finding out where we can have efficiencies similar to how the fire department has approached. I know other departments are doing the same, so this is taking water sewer to that same level, and I'm just looking for council's approval on this, and then hoping to send it off to South Dundas and get the same approval there.
Fair enough. Deputy Mayor.
I totally agree with this. We have like 8 wells. We don't know how long those aquifers are going to last. The recharge is not what it was in the past with the tile drainage. And we only need, you know, a few years of drought. We're very fortunate. This area's had a fair amount of rain every year. But in reading the report about the water protection in well 8, it does say that that aquifer, the Morwood Esker, is recharged with rainwater, precipitation, and snowmelt. And so the obvious choice is, you know, to go to the St. Lawrence River. So it's good that we kind of get prepared for something like that in the future.
Thank you for your comments. Any further comments? Councillor Annable.
Just that after listening for 40 years, we should have gone to the St. Lawrence. I'm glad to see there's something on paper and something initiative taken.
Thank you. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Drinking water vulnerability and threat assessment for Wellfield 7 and 8. Council continue with the submission of the vulnerability and threat assessment for Wellfield 7 and 8 without a peer review, and that should the MECP, through its technical review, require the model to be recalibrated, redesigned, or peer reviewed, that staff proceed with conducting the required work in order to receive a drinking water works permit. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bergeron, second by Councillor Annable.
Thank you, Mayor. So this report actually is coming to council from a committee. So it's a committee that looks at kind of source water protection as a whole in SNC, so in South Nation Conservation's portfolio. So as council's aware, we drilled a new well, Wellfield 8, on Lafleur Road, and as part of our due diligence, we need to protect that water source. And in the report, it goes into depth about what an esker is and why it's vulnerable and how all of that works. But basically, the high-level discussion is as we add more wells, the wellhead protection areas, which are the areas that are outlined around the wells, shift and change. And the reason for that is when you add more wells, you're pulling more water, as the Deputy Mayor said, out of the ground. And what does that look like? It affects the level of water in the aquifer and the recharge rate of that aquifer and the movement of particles in the water. So as part of this exercise, we did do a delineation study. So we looked at artificial particles in the water and how they move through the pump test. So we did a pump test in early 2024. And what that looked at is how these artificial particles through a model would go through the esker, the Moorwood esker, which is what the Deputy Mayor just said. So originally in the South Nation Conservation Source Protection Plan, there were conical features. So actually, Emily, if you don't mind, can you show that? Yeah, so this is the conical model that exists in the wellhead protection, or sorry, excuse me, the source water protection plan right now. So this conical feature is, this is Wellfield 7, and Wellfield 8 is actually the little pink, not the pink that's circled, but just south of there. So, and then if, Emily, if you could go to the next. So this is the new delineation that we're looking at. So as council recalls, and I outlined in the document, an esker feature is linear, it's not circular. So the model that was originally worked on by SNC, they couldn't get the model to perform in a linear fashion. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be an expert in modeling, but I'm told by the experts that this is more commonly seen than the conical shape. And that's because it follows the geological formation of an esker. So basically what's happened is we've submitted a section 48, which is part of this whole procedure. So as we update our wellhead protection areas, we have to, of course, inform the province, and the province gives us feedback. And as part of that, we have to ask for a section 48 from SNC. So SNC takes the section 48 and they decide whether our application is considered complete. And the report that was submitted to SNC was provided to council, that 600-page document in your council package that I'm sure you all read in detail, was provided. So that went to SNC, and so what SNC does is determines whether or not it is complete and follows the technical rules that the province has set out. So as part of that, the committee, the Source Protection Committee, also gets to preview that, and it was their suggestion that we have the model peer reviewed. So normally in circumstances in the past, previous when wellhead protection areas were just established, so the idea of source water protection is actually fairly new in our province. Previously, they would have peer reviews done because there wasn't a lot of information around about how that was calculated, how these models worked. And now the province has since said they're no longer required because we have enough information from various studies that happen as well as private well records. So we have information about water levels in the area, and then we do these extra pump tests as part of our EA. So the committee feels strongly. The committee is made up of different components, but they were considering a peer review. And my suggestion to council is that we don't proceed with a peer review and that we simply wait for the province to, once the Section 48 is forwarded by SNC, we wait to see if the province requires a peer review. The reason I'm saying that is because we have, as council is aware, awarded the work to Louis Bray to start that well house. And if we delay it, we could incur a few more costs, and we might not actually need a peer review based on the feedback that I've been getting from the province. It's not a requirement unless they find something wrong with the model. And I'm quite confident that WSP, who completed the model, they have 3 senior hydrogeologists that have reviewed this, so I feel quite confident in their capabilities. And they do as well. But again, if the province feels that the model is not accurate or could be revised, we could look at it at that point and see what our options are It would then set us back if that's what the province decides, but at least that's coming from the province, and we wouldn't be able to get our drinking water works permit otherwise. So that's why I'm looking for council for that permission, if that's okay, and move forward with the project as is.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Okay. Danielle, you explained that quite well, actually. I was going to make some comments exactly as you said. I'm on that Water Source Protection Committee, and there were some members that have been there a long time. And it's true, in the past, they would ask for a peer review because they didn't have the technology to find where this protection area would be. And so they just did a conical shape. And in this case, it was based on well number 7 in 2011 that the water came from the Moorwood Bog. Now, this company, I did read a lot of that report, not all of it, but a good portion. And this company did a thorough investigation, much more so than they did in the past. And my personal opinion is it doesn't need a peer review because they've had 3 people in their own department that have gone over this information. And so, as you say, we don't require peer review. I think they've done a fantastic job. If we said, oh yes, we'd like a peer review, it would cause delays. We need the water, and it's going to cost us more money. But all that said, I think that this company, WSP, actually did a better job than they have in the past every time that they opened a well. Much, much better. So just as trivia, I was curious to see what the heck does WSP stand for. It just says WSP. So I Googled, I wrote, what does WSP stand for? What's up? So I'm thinking, who calls a company what's up? You know, it was a little
I do.
senior moment. And then I realized, oh yeah, when people text, they say, instead of, WSP. But at the same time, but I found really interesting information. This is a Canadian company that has become world famous. It's huge. And hey, the president is a woman, Marie-Claude Dumas. And the name, which I finally found on Wikipedia after about 10 minutes, can you imagine? It takes that long to find a company name. Williams Sale Partnership. And sale is not that they're selling something. Sale is a person's last name. So WSP stands for that. And I do not recommend a peer review unless the government asks, and I doubt that they will.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No, it's appreciated. No, it's a good. I was just wondering why they'd be saying, what's up? I appreciate that. Do we have shorter questions and comments from members of the council? Councilor Urick.
I was gonna say, now that we know the deputy mayor knows how to Google, that's fantastic job. No, I do think, calling for a peer review is a bit of an overreach on the part of that committee. So I'm content to move forward as is. And obviously the province is the be all and end all. And so if we face a stall there, then obviously we deal with it. But right now we go forward because we've committed what we have, and let's get going. So thanks.
Thank you, Councillor.
I could say it all again, but I just want to reiterate what Councillor Urick had to say, and let's go forward.
Thank you. So all those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. And then we're going to move into the consent agenda. And thank you, Ms. Ward, for the explanation. All kidding aside? Yes, ma'am. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bergeron, seconded by Councillor Urick, I believe. And so we're going to move to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda be approved as recommended. Moved by Councillor Annable, seconded by Councillor Urick. Questions, comments, all those in favor? Seeing any opposed, seeing none, that's carried. Excuse me, allergies. As we mentioned earlier with the agenda, we're at item 8, items for consideration. Madam Clerk, shall I read that or shall you? Are you going to speak to it? Madam CAO, speak to it. That the job description for the Director of Financial/Treasurer be approved as submitted, moved by Councillor Urick, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bergeron. Madam CAO.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, as the council is aware, we currently have a vacancy for the position of the treasurer as a result of a retirement. So what we have in front of you is an updated and revised job description for this position that highlights the leadership component of this role, as well as has the update to the wage level to reflect 2025 rates.
Questions, comments from members of council? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that's carried. Thank you very much, Madam CEO. Notices of motions, there's none. Boards and committees, county council. I wasn't present at the last county council meeting, and I want to thank Councillor Annabelle for sitting in on my behalf and Deputy Mayor. Okay.
Well, there wasn't too much exciting at that meeting. I guess you picked a good one to miss. Mainly, the province has mandated a community safety well-being plan. And so SDG and Cornwall are going to join forces to put this plan together. And this is a plan that deals with poverty, homelessness, mental health, to deal with items or situations which would cause either crime or, I don't know, negative things in a community. It's a proactive. Instead of dealing with issues after they happen, this is to try to prevent issues. So it addresses the root causes of crime and social disorder, basically. And we ask that even though this is implemented SDG and Cornwall together, that municipalities, each municipality has input, because each municipality has different problems. And so that we just ask that whenever they do come up with something, before they make it final, that they come to each municipality and ask for our opinion. And as being on the Source Water Protection Committee, I have to do a report, and of course it comes back to salt again. I don't know if my council members read the water report that Danielle gave us at, I think, the last month, but I think it was well number 5, where water should be, I don't know, the 20, I don't know if it's parts per million or whatever, but the number's 20, and that well is at 140. And so it is happening that winter salt application on the roads, on parking lots, is slowly making its way to the water table. But the issue is that, okay, the province wants us to cut back on salt, but what happens if there's a car accident because there's too much ice on the road? Will the municipality be sued? If you're a business owner and someone slips in your parking lot, what will happen? And the staff that's on the committee, we're actually having a meeting the next week with lawyers for discussions on this. And I asked Jason, I said, are they going to talk about lawsuits? And they said, oh no, that's not on the agenda. So for some reason, the province is not discussing legally or deciding what will happen if there is lawsuits if you don't use salt. So that will be an issue, because if we have to follow the rules of applying less salt, there will be things happening, and we have to protect ourselves. So maybe the province will legislate something to protect us. I don't know. That's it for the meeting.
Thank you. Garden Party Market, May 10th at the Hunter Club Park. It's essentially the, I do believe, Mother's Day market. That makes sense. Bear with me, thank you. And Kelly Wendell and her volunteers are putting together, as is wont, a fantastic event. So May 10th at Hunter Club Park. I look forward to fair weather and lots of people enjoying the event. Art in the Waterfront, Councillor Annabelle?
Again, I've said before, they're a well-organized board. They're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. The only thing I might mention is that it's been advertised as a Saturday event, and they've sold out the available space for artisans to set up. But they have decided that there's a church service on Sunday and maybe a band or two that might hang around down by the community center. There'll be some things going on, not as much as other years, but there'll be some, but the artisans will be gone off the street.
Thank you for that update. And the Historical Society, I see that it's, I could read it here, May 20th, there's the next meeting at 7 p.m. At the Heritage Center in 14 Victoria Street, Chesterville. Councilor Lennox isn't here with us tonight. Dairy Fest. It's a one-day event. And Downtown Committee, Downtown Winchester, I'm going to lean on Councilor Urick, actually. Any updates?
No updates on my part.
None?
They've scheduled a night to do flowers back on the main corner, and I believe it was the 20th, and the rain date was the 22nd.
Okay. And then the Mord Reconciliation, the Councilor Lennox isn't here to offer any updates. So, council comments. I do want to express, in referring to the 2025 Business Expo, which I contend is the best business expo in all likelihood in SDG. I stand to be corrected on that, and the number of people that traveled through there was over 2,000 people. Visited that. The event was sold out essentially, completely. It was well attended, well represented. I had an opportunity to get around and talk to some of the vendors, visiting with lots of people that day. And just a quick aside, it was my grandson's first venture to an event like that. And Leo the Lion's mascot made him vibrate. He was scared, and he went around, and it's a silly story, but bear with me. He went around, and he likes to shoot the breeze, I think. And he went around and he told every person he could that he saw a tiger, and then he would show how he shook in fear. I saw a tiger, and then he would shake. And then he saw a puppy wearing a hat, Sparky the fire dog. So he had a good time, and lots of people did have a good time. But anyway, enough about that. I just want to say thanks to Stephen Mann. I think we must recognize Stephen Mann's efforts. He's our Economic Development Officer, and the municipal staff that worked with Stephen to make sure that this came together. It's a fantastic event. I look forward to it every year. I go without sleep. I was working nights. I gave up sleep to make sure I got a chance to get there and see it. And I look forward to next year's event. Another thing I have to offer congratulations to is Ontario Public Works Award, and with us tonight and one half of the team. We received communication from the Ontario Public Works Association that our township's drinking water supply system has been selected to receive the 2024 OPWA Project of the Year Award in the Small Municipalities Environment category. So that goes to our Director Danielle Ward and Doug Renault, our Infrastructure Coordinator Doug Renault. Thank you for that. I always just know him as Doug Renault. So, congratulations to both of you, and thank you for all of, and to Doug, thank you both for all your efforts to receive such an award, and our appreciation for your efforts on our behalf. It goes without saying, and we can't express enough. Thank you very much. This prestigious recognition highlights an ongoing commitment to operational excellence and the delivery of safe, high-quality drinking water to our community, and the achievement is a direct reflection of your hard work and Doug's, and the dedication of our staff to the Township of North Dundas. They'll be attending a ceremony May 22nd in Mississauga, along with our CAO and myself, and I get the drive, so hold on. We're going to go up and back quickly. And so congratulations for all of that, Danielle, and kudos to Doug. Please extend our best wishes and thanks to him. Also, this week is Clerk's Week, so many thanks and appreciation and for your hand-holding tonight to our clerk, Nancy Johnson, for all of your work this past year. And in celebration of Clerks Week, thank you for your efforts. It's appreciated and noted. And my last council comment is with the Meet Me on Main Street's coming up in July 2nd, on Wednesdays. The July 2nd, there's a council meeting that evening, or at 4:30, scheduled, and on the 30th. So the 2nd and the 30th, we're going to bump those times back to 3 p.m. Council's amenable to that idea, so we'll bump the council meetings back to 3 p.m. on the 2nd of July and the 30th of July so that we can be in full attendance at the Meet Me on Main Street events those evenings. The 2nd is the Morwood event. I'm looking for a nod. And the 30th is the Cheshova event. Thank you, Councillor. So the website will be updated to reflect those changes in our meeting schedule. Any other council comments? Seeing none. We go to the adjournment. The council adjourned at 6:51 p.m. to the call of chair, moved by Councillor Uhrig and Deputy Mayor Bergeron. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none? That's carried. Thank you very much for your patience and your perseverance as we work through this long package, and to all those paying attention online. Until next time, take care.